Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about Legacies. I recently finished Legacies as it was released on Netflix, the final season, because it ended. I don't think it was I don't know if it was canceled or it ended. I think the CW is just like calling it in. You guys have done enough damage to teenage minds, so let's get into Legacies. So, I am a huge fan of the Vampire Diaries. Obviously, anybody making a video about Legacies or what was wrong with it has to be a fan of Vampire Diaries. I would assume to some extent. But for me personally, Vampire Diaries was still airing when I was in high school, like the last season. But that being said, it's so funny, not funny, it's so interesting that now have, like, in hindsight, when I was watching the last season of The Vampire Diaries, which I didn't even finish it, I remember, like, talking to my friend about it in, like, the hallways before we go to class, and I would just be like, what is happening? But now when you see Legacies, even, like, season one, not even one episode of Legacies is as good as The Vampire Diaries, like, the worst episode of The Vampire Diaries, I'm afraid. But let is that the actor that plays Landon? Sorry, hold up. Anyway, sorry, let me stop getting distracted. ADHD things. Um, let's get into it. Because I love the Vampire Diaries. I love Legacies. I love, what's the other one they have? They have like one more. I always forget it. But anyways, here we are. And like, I want to say that I never was going to watch Legacies initially. Like I said, I never finished the Vampire Diaries. So when the Legacies came out, I was like, I am not watching this show. I think I tried to get into like one episode, and within a couple of minutes of watching it, I was like, this is so cringy. This is so bad. This is such a disgrace to the Vampire Diaries name. I couldn't even realize. I didn't even know that it was like the same thing. But then I saw people that whose opinions I respect saying that it was like a guilty pleasure for them and they got into it and like there's diversity and all this stuff. So I was like, fine, let me get into Legacies. It feels like there's a gun being held to my head, right? So I got into Legacies and I actually enjoyed it. Like, I ended up enjoying myself. I cried a couple of times, which doesn't really mean much because a lot of things make me cry. But so, I got into Legacies, and here this is what I have to say about it overall, okay? Um I feel like it was wasted potential. I feel as though, God, it's so weird because like HBO is rebranding as Discovery or whatever the heck they're doing right now. But in a perfect world, Legacies would have been an HBO Max original. In a perfect world, because yeah, it would have been an HBO Max original. And Danielle Rose, like, you will always be famous. Like, and the a lot of these actors and actresses like carried the show. Okay, like, but Danielle Rose, like, you will always be famous, love. I really hope this is not the last time that I see her on my screen. So, in a perfect world, this would have been an HBO series with some grit, with some type of plot, with some type of good writing. But no, we got it on the CW, and I know Danielle's back hurt because she carried the entire show for the whole damn time. Um, I don't even know where to start because it's so weird because it's a show that I feel like has so many problems, but like I still enjoy for like nostalgic reasons. Let's start with like monsters of the week because I see a lot of people talk about this online, like their monsters of the week issue. This is a show that wanted lots of monsters of the week without actually taking on the responsibility of having that. Shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or even like Scooby Doo, because they're trying to make like a Scooby kind of gang to Buffy gang thing from this, and in Buffy they called themselves the Scooby Gang, if I'm not mistaken. And they would bring in these monsters, like actually cool monsters, and they would just like not delve into their lore. They would just like half-ass it. I'm like, y'all are literally bringing up great plot points, and then you just are like, no, we're good. We don't want to do this. We're gonna focus on Malivore. Is that his name? Oh, I can't stand Malivore. I'm gonna just put that out there now. Yeah. Anyways, so that's my issue with them. Like, Monster of the Week, Malivore. Next issue, Monster of the entire series, which makes no sense because if you have 3 to 4 seasons, each season should have a different big bad. Why are we still dealing with Malivore? Or like things like repercussions of the events that happened because of Malivore. Why? The only good thing about Malivore is literally like, what is his son, Clark, Lennon's brother? Like, I thought he was like interesting. Anyways, Malivore as making him the big bad, just making the entire show for the most part revolve around him was very frustrating to watch. And like, on paper he's somewhat of an interesting villain, but not for 4. He's no Klaus Michelson. Not for 4 seasons, dude. It just doesn't make sense. And in the end, and like the last season they bring in like the god guy, and I'm like, where was this in like season 2 or 3? So I guess as I talk about the characters, maybe I'll be able to talk about my plot issues, because it's just everywhere with this. Let me start by saying Alaric being the one to run the school, a joke. I know that Julie Plec, I know that you have traumatized every actor and actress from the series to the point where they do not even want to return, but it's a joke that Alaric is in charge of the school. Why even Caroline literally comes at the like last episode of the entire series. And that's when I knew this series just like was not serious. And I don't even like Caroline like that, like, but I appreciate her as a character to some extent. Seeing Caroline, I was so happy. Like, it's a cold day in hell when I'm happy to see Caroline, and I'm not a Caroline stan in any way, shape, or form. Like, I get it, she was like annoying in the beginning and she had like her character development, but like I just don't really care for Caroline. Like, she's kind of really annoying to me. I understand that Kat Graham would not have come back, and I don't blame her, and I think she should stay far away from Julie Plec unless they have new showrunners on the show. But like, I can't be the only one that like literally Bonnie would have been perfect as the headmaster. Am I the only person? Like, I keep trying to think of other characters. I was like, oh, like Bonnie should be Bonnie was saving everybody's butts in the original series. So you mean to tell she would have made sure these students were able to go home for the holidays? Alaric can't say that. He could barely save his daughters. My man was literally putting students in purgatory because they misbehave, like minors. Oh, he made me so mad. Like, I just didn't want him in there in the beginning in general, but then they went and just made him like annoying. Why are you literally like punishing minors for making mistakes and you drink way too much? Like, don't make me mad. Don't make me mad. Let's get into the characters, because I'm going to get mad about this whole plot of the show. But I still watched, and I laughed, and I cried, and everything, child. Danielle Rose Russell, 8 as Hope. In the beginning of the seasons, I was like, do I like her? I don't know. Because it was all new, and I was hesitant, but I love her. Yeah, she 8. Do the writers sometimes do stupid things with Hope? A lot of the time. I mean, there's times when, like, I actually really like her character. And I think she's, like... She's one of those characters... She's a really interesting character because she is, like... She is Klaus Michelson's daughter. But she's also, like, a really good character. She's a good person. She has good intentions. But she still has that, you know, side to her where like, if need be, she's ready to get down and dirty. And I love that about her. Like, it was giving Buffy a little bit. It really was. Where I think they failed her character, besides the fact, like, just, like, almost everything, the fact that they didn't allow her to be in touch with her family much throughout the entire series, which, once again, I mean, it probably has to do with, like, the fact that a lot of the cast is not American. They're, like, British or whatever, and people don't want to end up displaced for however long to film a show for whatever reason. Sure, there are a lot of factors that play into it. But I feel like, overall, her family the Michelsons should have been more in the series. It makes no sense to me. It makes literally no sense. I think Klaus could have come back. I think they could have brought him back to life. I think so many things could have happened. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just over it. There was just times where, like, I feel like she really needed somebody to talk to, and only a Michelson could understand. And they would bring her Aunt Freya at, like, the most random damn times. I'm like, why weren't you here last week when she was literally screaming, crying, and throwing up? And, like, Rebecca and Cole is still alive, child. I don't know why. Why couldn't they keep Elijah alive? Like, literally, Elijah would have... You know what? You see what I'm talking about on this show? This is why this show is so frustrating. Because it was almost, like, good, but then they were just, like... So we could have done more with her relationship with her family. I don't really care for Alaric being her second father. He is barely a father to his own children. I need him to stay away from Hope. I mean, when she whipped his ass on that one season when she turned her humanity, I was like... I was cackling a little bit. Because I don't like Alaric. I was like, get him one more time for me, Hope. I know she was living. Both non-humanity and humanity. Like, she was living a little bit. I know she was. Because Alaric is annoying. Alaric is messy. He shouldn't be in charge of minors. He shouldn't be in charge of anybody. But he shouldn't be in charge of minors. Why was my man's literally pulling... Not my man's. Why was he literally, like, pulling a gun on all of the children, like, in so many scenes? I was like, no. This is not what I signed up for. I do like... And I think this is where she reminds me of Buffy. No matter what was going on in her life, she is always going to try to save the world. She's going to save the world no matter what. Even if it kills her. That's a real hero. That's a real heroine. Okay? Take notes. A selfless hero. Yeah. Like, Hope deserved better. Now let's get into her relationship with Landon. Ooh, I used to hate Landon so bad at the beginning of this show for like literally up until the last episode. I cannot stand Landon. I don't know why. People may like him, or they may like him with Hope. I just don't care. I don't care. It's not even giving what the worst ship in the Vampire Diaries is giving. First of all, let me say that Danielle Rose Russell, I think she could literally have chemistry with Drywall. Like that girl's insane. She's so charismatic. She could make the most dry person have chemistry with her. Like, that being said, I feel like her relationship with Landon should have ended, or at least she should have explored more. I don't understand. They didn't even make Elena stay with Stefan for this long. Like, I don't understand. Why were the writers so pressed for Hope and Landon to be together? Why? You know what? It was giving, like, in the beginning I was like, it's giving Usagi and Tuxedo Mask a little bit, because I was trying to like it, but like I just ultimately do not really care for them together. I just don't. And they're both attractive actors and all that, and they both like are pretty charismatic. But I don't care if they're together or not. I don't know why. I just do not. I don't need them together. I don't want them to be together. I don't know. Even by the end of the show, my opinion did not change. And in the beginning, I used to be really mad because Landon needed a lot of help all the time. But like, I thought that was cool or cute or whatever. But then this is where I started to get annoyed. Okay? Because when Landon dies, or whatever happens to him, they make Hope so fixated on him, which I get it, Hope. Like, I understand, sister. Like, it kind of makes sense for her character, because she's like really intense and stuff. But at some point, like, can we get her a new love interest? It was insane. I mean, like, this is not no Romeo and Juliet. I don't even like Romeo and Juliet. It was tired. It was overdone. I think it would have been a lot more interesting to see Hope explore a lot of different relationships throughout through all the seasons. I think she should have had a different relationship in every season for the most part. Why did we never get Hope with Josie? I feel queer baited. Josie was like, oh yeah, I like you, or whatever, in one of the episodes, and Hope was like, oh yeah, I knew, and she was like smiling. And then that was it. Like, I feel bamboozled. When Chloe came in, I was like, oh yeah, her and Hope are gonna get together. No. I forgot it was the Vampire Diaries. And they burn lesbians on the Vampire Diaries. Anyways. So, Hope, you deserve better. You are everything. You are the moment. You're the it girl. I love when she turned her humanity off. I was living when she turned her humanity off. Are you kidding me? OMG. Just a little bit. No, I was living a lot. Like, I loved when Hope turned her humanity off. Oh my goodness. It was amazing. And they brought, like, Marcel back, and Freya was there, Cole was there, and Rebecca. I was just like, yeah. I wonder if Landon would have been able to turn her humanity on if she had a way of reaching him. I just remember, like, her seeing him after that, and he was just like, I'm glad I didn't see that. And I'm like, Landon, you should be sticking through your partner through thick and thin. What do you mean you're glad you didn't see her go through her roughest point in her life? Anyways, Hope and No Humanity was a serve. Same thing with Josie with her little dark side. Oh, I was living. Okay, let's stop talking about Hope now. Okay, I love Hope so much, but Josie's my favorite character. And Chloe. And Chloe comes first, then Josie, then Hope. It's like really close for all of them, but yeah. Josie's my sister. That's my girl. She is always there for others, even when she's not there for herself. I loved the first relationships Josie was in. I feel like it got snatched away from us too quickly, and that's when I knew I was in the trenches with this show. When that girl, what was her girlfriend's name? But I don't even have the, hold up, because that made me mad. Like, hold on a minute. They probably don't even have her on here. And no, they don't. As they don't. But, like, I don't really blame them because she was on... Here she go. Lulu. Oh, shit. I mean, shoot. Penelope. I loved them together. Are you kidding? And I, for the life, like, I could not understand why Josie was so mean to her. Like, I know they had, like, their little beef, but I feel like that was so out of character for her to just be so nasty and ignore the girl. And then, like, she made that, like, nice necklace for her, and then when she left, Josie was super sad, and I was like, why wasn't this explored more? Okay, that made me mad. I just felt, like, cheated. And then the actress was gone for, like, the entire last season. Like, they were just like, oh, yeah, she's here. Oh, she's over there. She's with Caroline, and now she's with this. And, if she had some actual struggles behind the scenes, then, like, okay, cool. That's, then okay, I understand. But other than that, I missed Josie. Lizzie. I don't like her. I'm sorry. I tried to like Lizzie. Like, in the beginning, I was like, she is annoying. She's like, they tried to recreate the Caroline storyline with her. But, like, she never really gets better as a person. She just becomes, like, slightly more self-aware of her actions and how they affect people, and she's able to, like, say it out loud, but she never actually completely changes as a person. And I think Milton deserves better. And same thing with the other boy. What was his name? Leo Howard. I don't know who he played on there because they actually did him mad dirty. And Leo Howard is an icon, like, low-key. Like, I used to watch that dang show. What was that show on Disney XD called? What they was doing karate? That was my show. I used to have a little crush on him, too. Anyways, moving on. Don't like Lizzie. I don't like her. I just don't. Does she have some cute moments? Probably. I just ultimately found her very annoying. And she's actually worse than Caroline, because at least I kind of cared about Caroline in the end. Alaric. I don't care. I don't care. I have nothing to say. I don't know why he's on the show. I guess one of the people in the Vampire Diaries universe has some crush on him, or he knows one of their deepest, darkest secrets. Or nobody else on the show would be the headmaster, which at that point, just put a new headmaster, maybe? Not somebody from the original series. But I just don't really care. I don't need him there. I don't care. I don't need him there. I think he was negligent to Hope. I think he was negligent to the students at the university or the school. I don't think that he could protect any of them because literally the weakest student could have bodied him. He also used to pull knives, guns, a whole bunch of stuff out at his students. Like, what are we doing here? No, I don't like Alaric. Landon. So, I know I talked a lot about Landon. And I feel like ultimately the writers just failed him. Because the actor he's like an attractive young man. And I was like, cool, this is great. And there were seasons where I was like, towards the like later seasons, I was like, oh wait, Landon's like actually like cool, kind of. He kind of reminds me of like the way his character's written is like a little bit incel-y. Like Reddit incel, just a little bit. He's like one of those guys that like knows a bunch of facts about a bunch of nerdy things, and it seems like he's only nice to like girls who he likes because he just like gives all of his attention in his life to Hope and nothing else, and his foster brother, and he has like some guy friends, but for the most part, like his entire life is basically Hope. And I'm like, I need you to have a personality. I need you to have something. I need you to fight. I need you to stand up. And I feel bad because I do think that the actor was good, and I think that in the seasons where Landon turned like dark were his most interesting story. The seasons where Landon and Hope are literally not together and the furthest away from each other are some of their best plot lines and storylines. It's true. Like, why are we lying? When Landon ends up in like somewhere, I don't know, because at some point it just gets messy for them trying to keep. That's what made me mad. Like, they were like, he's dead, but he's not. But we're not gonna put him with Hope. But we want him to be with Hope, clearly. And that made me very mad. Like, I was like, what is this? I think Landon was a cute and love interest. I think he should have ended in season 1. I think he should have gone on to be his own character. I think he could have been a really great, cool character on his own. But the show failed him. Ultimately, they did. I think it's kind of cool that he ends up as the Grim Reaper later, but I just want to say this show has a problem with, like, killing character, like, just trauma porn in general. Just, yeah. So, I don't really know what else to say. He needed a lot of help in the beginning of the seasons, and it made me really annoyed. But he was never, like, really a bad person. He was always there for Hope, so I was just like, I can't hate the guy. I just don't know what to say about Landon. Like, I just don't know. Like, as in the last season, he's just kind of like, we gotta let go of each other, and I'm like, thank you. But I'm also kind of mad because I'm like, why are you so quick to let go of Hope Michelson? Because if I was Landon, oh, I would be fighting to get back with Hope. Okay. But I guess he was cool in hell, in purgatory. I know that sounds so crazy. Like, I'm like, if I was in hell, I'd fight to get back to her. And he just, like, gave up. But, I mean, he kind of did. Like, let's think about it. Because, dude, you are, like, the Grim Reaper. And he was popping up in, the normal world. Like, it was nothing. So I was like, y'all just be doing anything on this show. y'all just do anything. At this point, y'all just do anything. Like, y'all want them to be together. But you've written this plot where they can't be together. I can't stand the writers. But anyways, I did enjoy the actor. I think he did well with what he was given. And I think he gave you some emotional moments when, like, not even when the writing called for it, because I think the writing let them down a little bit on this series a lot. But I thoroughly enjoyed the actor in some moments. I really enjoyed his moments with his brother, because it was giving him some kind of character arc outside of Hope. And, yeah. That's basically it. I think I just would have loved to see them both explore different relationships in the series. And, they decided to do some weird-ass reverse universe where he was dating Josie. And I was like, this is where y'all decide to go with this? Okay. The actor's, like, handsome, I guess. No, I guess he is handsome. I was like, okay, I'll watch him on. You're lucky he looks good on screen. Okay, so MG, like, literally probably the most disrespected character on this show. He was the emotional punching bag of the show. He was the character that was supposed to help every other character find their own journey. And he's supposed to be so easygoing and all this stuff and all that. And I just didn't like that for him. I wanted him to be on his own thing. I wanted him to get away from Lizzie. I wanted him to have a love interest that, like, wasn't so complicated. Even at some point, they made his relationship with Caleb, like, a little bit, like, rough. And I was just like, this seems unnecessary to me. And there was, like, one point in the show where he would do anything for anybody. And then, like, Caleb asked him to do something. And he was like, no, I had to put myself first for once. And I was like, the show is very unserious. It just is. But at the end of the day, MG, he's cool for real. Like, I really like MG, the actor. I think he's, like, very charismatic or whatever. He's kind of, like, melodramatic. He gets a lot of, like, really dramatic lines and moments, or at least he acts them out that way. And I think he's kind of iconic for that, even though sometimes I was like, come on, like, you're such a... He's so, like, sappy sometimes, but... It is what it is, and I think he deserved better than Lizzie Saltzman. That's for darn sure. So, I just think you're gonna start to realize a lot of these characters deserved better, in my humble opinion. Jed, doesn't really do much until the last season, where he dates a demigod, and before that, he, like, cheats, with the one girl that MG likes. But his last character arc with the demigod, it was giving. Like, it was giving. I'm sorry. And then, I mean, in the end, they, like, didn't make him a werewolf. And I was like, this is kind of weird, I guess. But I guess now, when I'm saying it out loud, it's not, because I just feel like the werewolves in... I've heard people say, like, the werewolf lore in Vampire Diaries is not that interesting. And I feel like as a underdeveloped teen, I used to, like, live for it. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just like... Because I was upset that Jed gave up being a werewolf. No, he didn't give up, but, like, he wasn't. And he was, like, completely content with it. I feel like I'd be a lot more upset, but... He was chill about it, but it makes sense because he had to kill the guy he literally loved for that to happen, or his father, for the guy he loves. And I was just like, that's really tragic. So, I mean, if you're happy, I'm happy, Jed. And I was living for him with the demigod. Like, I was living down arguably the best relationship in the entire show. They looked good. But anyways, let me stop. Raphael. I mean, he's literally smiling in his... Why is Landon not smiling in his one? He was just there to smile and be happy, and that was it, baby. Even when he died, he was happy, and I was like, I need you to stand up. Because why? They're about to send you to... You know what? Why was he literally happy that he was dead? I can't stand the Vampire Diaries writers. Like, they make no sense. Because they kill off so many of their characters, and to the point where they have to make them happy when they're dead, right? Ethan. Leo Howard, you will always be famous, hopefully. I don't know. This show did not do you justice, my friend. I would have loved to see him with Hope. I would love to see him explore that. I would love to see... With Lizzie, I feel like at that point, y'all was just throwing names in a hat and shaking it up. So, he deserved better. Also, him being a what he was... Okay. He could have been anything else. He really could have been. I could envision him as a werewolf. I see it. But he could have been a witch, or he could have been a vampire. But they made him that thing, and then he like zaps into battle and dies in the end. I'm so sorry, Leo Howard. Like, I'm so sorry. Caleb. I love Caleb. He is one of my favorite people to watch on this show. The actor, like, just as far as like his acting, he's captivating. He's a captivating actor. Yeah, that's all. I don't really know what else to say. Like, he's a really good actor. I don't know. He's so charismatic. Like, just like MG. Like, he really makes the show. Like, I feel like the show does not deserve him, and a lot of these actors and actresses. But yeah. Okay, so I don't like that he died in the end, but like he came back to life. I felt that was kind of like pointless and dumb. He was always drinking scotch with Alaric, and I was like, okay, he's a minor. Also, Alaric used to pull a lot of weapons out on Caleb, and I was just like, okay. Not gonna lie, at first I didn't really care for his relationship with Chloe because I wanted Chloe with Hope, but I guess they're cute together. Ben, how is he all the way up here? He looked good with Jed. That's all I have to say about Ben. Like, that's really all I have to say. I was not paying attention to no types of plots when they were on my screen, okay? Next, the Necromancer. My favorite villain. Are you kidding me? My favorite monster of the week. Him and, like, the genie or sphinx or something like that or the other. They had a banshee on there that was pretty cool and screaming and scary looking. They had some cool monsters, and they would literally just blip them in and out. But the Necromancer stayed because he's one of the most iconic. Like, he can act. He was giving. He was giving. And then when he went to hell with Landon, and they were like doing their own little plot together, like, it was giving a little bit, and he helped him find peace. Yeah. He was good. Why is he all the way up? Sebastian? Before Chloe? Baby, he was trying to get, what's-her-face to go to, like, the universe where Kai trapped Bonnie and Damon? And never see anybody ever again? Are you crazy? Are you insane? Like, no. I'm so glad Lizzie said no. I'm so glad Lizzie said no. He was Thomas Doherty. He was acting. Like, I really enjoyed him on the show. For the short amount of time he was on here. He was giving. I'm sorry, like, the way that he acted for some reason made me remember, like, Vampire Diaries and the Michaelsons. Like, his accent that he had and how just, like, regal he was on the show. It just made me remember what he was acting like, a vampire, like somebody who had lived for years, you know? A lot of these characters, some of them, you didn't even know what their supernatural ability was until they used them. So, thank you, Thomas Doherty, for coming and acting. Thank you. Same thing for the Gossip Girl reboot. Thank you for acting circles around everybody, and hopefully, you know, one of these days. He was in that one show with Zoe Kravitz too, on Hulu. But he's a good actor. I'm starting to like kind of become a fan a little bit of him. Okay, I see you. Like I see you. Oh, Ken the God. I did not think he was the best actor, but I still found him interesting as a villain. Yada 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 yada. Next, I really liked Ryan Clark. I ended up really liking him. He had an interesting storyline. I ended up liking his relationship with Hope. It was like nuanced. It was a little bit complicated, and I think that they could have done more with him in the show. This show makes no sense because the times that they had him on felt so misused, but then every time he was on felt misused. But then like the times that he was on there a lot, I was like, okay, I was annoyed by his presence. But then like towards the end, when he was a human and he was dealing with Hope losing her humanity, I thought that was really interesting. And I don't know, the way the show handled some of the plot lines and characters, the timing was off. I was just like, okay, y'all don't want success. Cleo, my favorite character. Let's get into her. That's my favorite character. Amuse. Would have loved to see her with like Hope or Josie or somebody like, I don't know. I thought she was queer, but I guess not. Like, she sure acts like it. Anyways, that's my sister. Yep, I love her. She's one of my favorite new additions to the lore as far as, because they had like one guy on there. He's like a fairy. I'm like, okay. What do you want me to do with this? And then she's on there, and her power's really cool. Of all the newer lore they added, I think she is the best addition. I don't like her whole storyline where, like, in the beginning, and she suffers a lot, and, she's, like, in some fucking ooh. She's, like, in some potato sack outfit, and I'm like, I don't like this for her. And she's, like, doing stuff for Malivore, and he has her captured. I don't like that because you want to know why? Because I don't like it, one. And two, Julie Plec, I know who you are. I know how you treated Bonnie Bennett. So I don't want to see any shenanigans. I don't want to see any black women in no potato sacks on any show that your name is on. Period. Why Jennifer kind of ate? I didn't like her in the beginning, but towards the end, I was kind of feeling for her. Same thing with Penelope. I don't have anything to say about Dorian. He was very underwhelming. He was just there. Even his love interest, like, were you guys really in a relationship? Because she kissed Alaric, and then y'all were in, like, completely different areas of the planet at one point. I don't care. Sheriff Mac, I don't care. Ethan was her son. That's about as much caring as I do. I don't understand why. I guess they never ever built that relationship with her and Alaric. I don't remember why, because I don't care. Okay. Finch was a server. She was a server. She was a serve. I don't know why they left her alone without Josie for like a whole ass season. She deserved more. She deserved better. Love the actress. She gave you a lot of great emotional moments in the show. Why wasn't she like brought in in an earlier season? Child. Emma. I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna be like the Bonnie Bennett 2.0. But then they just like got rid of her, and she got in a relationship with Alaric, and I was just like, this is not giving what it was supposed to give. And then she just left the entire school before she even had any kind of story arc or any kind of character development. So there you go. Maya, what is there to say about her? She was in the show for 2 seconds. And I'm really sad about it because I think the actress is really good. She's from The Fosters, from what I remember. And I feel like she could have been amazing. I liked the moments that she was on camera, but then they just were like, no, we're gonna make her go away. She would have ate down as a vampire or something. Are you kidding me? Like, oh my goodness, she would have ate. That's why this show gets me mad. Aurora, she was iconic, but she was a pick-me. Okay. Jade, that's one of the students Alaric locked up somewhere. Okay, anyways, why is you creeping on Josie when you were trying to be mean to her? I don't like that. Stay away from her. Get a job. Alyssa Chang, one of the very many POC / black characters that was ultimately let down by the script and the everybody behind the scenes. I just don't understand why. I don't know why. I don't get it. Why? And she was, like, very mean. But, like, there was no coming back from her meanness. And I feel like that was kind of, like, nasty. Especially given the fact that, like, Lizzie was such a person. And by person, I mean, I just don't understand why they tried to paint Alyssa. I mean, she did a lot of, like, really nasty things, but I was just like, why is she still this nasty? And then ultimately, I was like, oh, is this gonna give, like, Catherine? Like, is she gonna do something in the grand scheme of things? But they didn't put her power to any good use. Professor Vardem. He was actually really interesting. I liked him. We thought he was the villain at first, but then I guess he wasn't. And then he came back. He was kind of giving, what is the character from Buffy? I can never remember his name. Starts with a G. Who was in the library helping them? Gilbert, something. I don't know. He could have taken over this school. Yep. If he took over the school in, like, season 2, when they figured out he was who he was, but really he was, like, trapped or whatever, and then he was, like, good. Whatever the heck was going on with him, it was really a lot. Which brings me to the other thing about this show that really makes me mad is the way they handled plot lines. Just made no sense. They would try to juggle, like, 4 or 5 storylines at once in the messiest way possible, while still trying to, like, juggle a story about Malivore and make it the main story. And I was like, but there are all these other interesting side stories that could be developed and potentially used in later seasons. And they were like, no, Malivore and Landon, and yeah. Even when the god comes in, why is he there ultimately? Like, to some extent, like, he has affiliations with Malivore. I'm annoyed. I'm not impressed. So, now that I've gone through the characters in here, I'm pretty sure there are way more. I'm not going to go through the rest of the characters. Ultimately, I feel like this series let down all of the actors. I feel like the writing let them down. I feel like it could have been something great. Was it still, like, somewhat enjoyable? Yes. I feel like it also fell into its old habits of being... Okay. So initially I was like, this show handles its POC and black characters horribly. But upon finishing the show, I was like, this show handles all of its characters horribly. And yes, the black characters make it a little more, like, weird plot lines and make you side-eye. But literally, even the main character is... her treatment is questionable. Alaric is for whatever reason has like a pretty smooth storyline overall. He has no growth as a character. He's the same person that he was and has been for a very, very long time. I just want to say, I just want to make this because this could quite possibly be the end of the Vampire Diaries universe. You know, I think the CW is dying out at this point, which makes sense. The CW has not been a really great channel since like the first season or two of Green Arrow and The Flash, if we're being honest. Riverdale has not been that good. It's one of those shows people love to hate. They're just really known for having like really bad CGI and being a really cringy channel. And it sucks. I remember watching Gilmore Girls. I remember watching Charmed. I remember watching The Vampire Diaries. And yeah, they were like a little bit corny or whatever, but like they had some substance to them. Even Buffy, even Smallville. And it just feels like they really fell off with that. And watching other... I don't know. I guess this is the end of the CW. And it's kind of bittersweet. Because I have a love-hate relationship with them. I really enjoyed everything they gave me as a teen. Gossip Girl, everything. Even though I was like way too young, I still went back and watched stuff. But at the same time, they needed to go. But then it's like, who is going to hold this flame or crown for teen dramas, fantasy, sci-fi even? They did so much for, I mean, fantasy more so, not really sci-fi, but even like with the 100, I think that's more sci-fi. The CW just did a lot, and it's just, I don't know if they'll go or if they'll rebrand, because they weren't the CW, they were like something else at first. I remember them rebranding a little bit, but it's ultimately sad. It is. That's why I made this video, because I do care about this, and I did enjoy Legacies to some extent. I really freaking did, unfortunately, even though I have a lot of crap to talk about it. I also still kind of liked it. So that's why I'm mad. I want to make this video, and I wanted to see more seasons, and I wanted to see it grow, and it was one of those shows that I felt like got better as the seasons progressed. And that's kind of somewhat rare for a show to get. Usually it's like the second season or the first season are really good, and then it gets worse. But this show actually got better as seasons went on. Does that mean the next season would have been perfect, amazing, great television? No. Certainly not. But I do think it was ended like way too early. That being said, I hope all of the actors can find great jobs after this, because they were all talented and charismatic, which I think is another thing that's necessary for these CW shows. You need good looking 20-something-year-olds to play teenagers that are charismatic, and they did that. They really did. I don't think I've seen that on a show in a while. The way that these actors and actresses were charismatic. So like I said, I hope this isn't the last time that I see these people on my screen, except for Matthew Davis. This could be the last time I see him in general. But that being said, what are your thoughts on Legacies? I mean, yeah, what are your thoughts? It's a show. I am grateful to have been around for this era of television. The era where vampire media was super popular, and it seems like they're trying to reboot it now, but it's not working as well for them, because for whatever reason, when I was a goofy goober, we loved vampires. And I don't know why. Maybe it was like Twilight, but like, why did Twilight pick up and get so popular even? Actually, probably because we were all in like, when Twilight came out, when the last Twilight came out, I was literally in middle school. And I just remember being like so like, oh my god. When that book came out. I don't know why. I think I really don't know. But I think vampire media will always be interesting, but there's something about the 2010s, mid to late 2010s vampire media, even like True Blood, the TVD, and Twilight. TVD was a book by L.J. Smith that originally it's actually came out before Twilight, if I'm not mistaken. And you know what's really strange? I don't think he owns like the newer. Not that he doesn't own. I don't think like if they make newer books, he does not make them anymore. Like it's really weird. Like I don't know who bought them, but like somebody bought something. I don't know how all of that stuff works, but like L.J. Smith or whoever writes the Vampire Diaries series does not write for it anymore. And I just find that all to be very interesting. But will this be the last we see of it? Will they transfer to another network in a year or 3? You see them rebooting Avatar: The Last Airbender. So many series that were very popular when a lot of us were preteens and stuff. So that's what I have to say mostly. It's bittersweet, and I lived for Rebecca showing up and all the cameos and stuff. So I didn't want this to fail, because I feel like every time somebody comes on and like talks so much crap about a show, I always feel like, ugh, do you have nothing nice to say about it, or like whatever. Like I just want to say that like I do not want this to fail. I do not want to stay here and talk crap about this show. I really wanted to stay here and like this show and say so many great things about it. But I do think it had a lot of issues. So that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.